Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to lesson 29 in this series on developing a survival game. In this video, we will set up the ability to unequip equipment items and to swap our equipment items. This is the penultimate lesson in section 3. This video and this series have been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors. And with that said, open up your project and let's make a start. Hi everyone, and welcome to the penultimate video for section 3. Unlike last time, I am actually correct. This is the penultimate video. I double checked like 5 times. Alright, so in this video, we're going to set up our ability to swap and unequip stroke discard equipment. Now to do this, we need to set up some things in advance. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our character. Actually, we're going to go to interfaces. We're going to go to our iCharacter interface. And we're going to set up the interface that allows for us to turn on and off the ability, or the turn on if we have a flashlight or not. So we're just going to do a new function called set flashlight equipped. We'll have similar events down the road for other things as well. This is going to go into a category called equipment. And I'm going to put a boolean in called b flashlight equipped. Gonna compile, save that, and we're done with this one. I'm just gonna close every other tab though. Close that out, go to core, go to character, go to first person character. By the way, I made a mistake. I said we're gonna have 3 things here. We actually are only gonna have 2, so we're done with this, and this is update inventory. And that actually takes us through our inventory system in terms of what we need for this part. So we're just gonna comment that out as inventory system. And let's go over to our flashlight system here. And our flashlight system, we need to put in a couple of things. But for we've already done the flashlight is equipped stuff. But first what we need to do is do a set flashlight equipped event. There we go. And we need to then get our bool for B flashlight is equipped. Set that there. And now we need to do one more thing. If we unequip the flashlight while it's equipped, we want to turn it off. So we're going to do a branch. And we could technically just do the flashlight is active. Because if you switch flashlights, then yeah, you want to turn off the current flashlight. Or you want to turn the flashlight off because you might not want to use the new flashlight. I'm not sure why you'd have multiple flashlights. But if you want to be really safe, what you can do is this, and flashlight is not equipped, and plug that into there, and plug that into there. But for our purposes, just having it this way is fine. Off the true, we will abort flashlight. And let me just double check everything here real quick. Well, that takes us through our flashlight system as well. So that's our flashlight system finished out. So that's one of the things we'll be testing in this today when we unequip an item, is that this last little bit down here works. Now, one more thing we need to do in terms of setting up for our testing of today is we need to go into our equipment, and we need to create a dummy piece of equipment that we'll use a few times. We'll use it as a chess piece in the next video, by the way. And we're going to create a new child blueprint. This will be BP test equipment. And I'm just going to pop it open, pin it into the correct window, select the mesh. This will be quad pyramid. I think we need to change leave it on head, go here. We're just going to call this test. And this is going to be head test. Item weight, we'll just set it to 1. Equip. And this will be our test equipment. We will not adjust the offset. Where is that? Adjust collision offset. There we go. And we will actually probably want to expand our collision area. It won't let us, will it? Nope. So, oh, we have the custom thingy down here, don't we? Let's go back to our viewport and set this to 1 by 1, 1.5 by 1.5 by 1. There we go. All right. Let's just drop this onto the map real quick so we have it ready to go. And that takes us on to what we need to do for step 2. Sorry, I misspoke. We have one more thing to do in step 1. To open the head-mounted display and our head-mounted flashlight, and we need to find our Unequip or Unconsumed event. And we need to find our Unequipped as well. Unequipped. And we need to set these up in here. So we're just going to right-click this one and do a call to our parent function. And then we are going to get the player character. And we are going to set flashlight equipped as true here. I forgot this open. Let's make sure we have nothing in there right now, but we might update it down the road. And then we're going to duplicate these nodes down here and mark that as false. So now if we hit play, by the way, sorry, one more thing we need to do. Mark that as false to begin with. So flashlight is equipped should be default to false. Now it doesn't work. If I equip it, it now does work. If I can't unequip it right now. That's the part we're about to do. But before we go forward, one more thing I want to do, because it's going to drive me crazy. Let's just change this to 100 so that we have a full battery at start, so we don't have to worry about the flicker and accidentally turning off while we're doing everything. Now we can go on to step 2. So for step 2, let's go to our inventory actor. Let's just close everything to the right. We're going to reopen one of those things probably, which is our equip item master. We'll leave that for now, but we just want it open so we can get to it very quickly in a moment. We're going to start with our swap equipment. And swap equipment is going to have 3 input pins. And the first 2 will be index references. So we'll have our inventory index ref first, which is, of course, type integer. We'll then have our equipment index ref, which again, of course, is type integer. So EQ index ref. And then finally, we want our equipment class. So this will be our equipment class, which will be of BP equipment master, and it will be a class reference. Let's promote the first 2 to local variables. So we have our inventory index ref local. Let's then do the same over here with a EQ index ref local. All right, so we set our local variables like we normally do. Easy peasy so far. Now, if you remember our swap that we did previously, we're going to do something similar here. We are going to temporarily store the EQ data. So what we want to do is we want to get our EQ data, we want to get our equipment slots, and we're going to get a reference at that index value. If you notice, I'm a little bit paranoid whenever we do the swaps. I always get the reference. And if you're not familiar with the difference between references or copies yet, I do recommend looking at some C++ tutorials on that. I will probably put some links in the description below. We're going to promote this to a local variable, which will be temp EQ info local. So we're temporarily storing this, and it's a local variable, which means the second we finish this function, it's going to get cleared anyway. All right, now we need to do a add item, which we could have just pulled from over here. And we also need to do a equip item. So equip item. All right, and I'm just gonna leave those there for one moment. Actually, I'm gonna move them to the side first. And what we're gonna do is we're going to add an item to this index in our inventory. Actually, you know what? I want to just pause for one moment and consider how I'm doing this I might want to do the equip first because we're storing the equipment data, not the add item data. Just move that around. We'll double check this is right in literally at the end of this video. All right, so the reason we have it in this order is we are actually going to be passing in the equipment class over here, so we don't need to worry about what we're overwriting what's already in the slot. We are getting that information elsewhere. It's being stored elsewhere, so we are not going to override what we are trying to equip by doing the add item first. But we are going to actually override it in the other part of the inventory system. So we're going to add at the index of our local there for our inventory. We're adding one item in, and we're going to take our temp data here. We are going to break that information. We're going to take the item class, go into there, and just to make sure that everything is still working, we're going to take the equipment type and plug that into there. We'll hide our unconnected pins. We'll just tuck that up there. For our index on our equip item, we're going to use our equipment index. And the class is going to come from over here in our equipment class. I'm just going to put a couple of reroutes in to make this a little bit easier to read and manage. There we go. And we're only adding in one item at the slot. And then we have our return. All right. Go ahead and compile. Go back to your equip item master. And in here, now we're going to do this false branch. This false branch is when we are swapping our items out. So we're going to get our, first let's put this into the correct folder of equipment. We are going to swap the item here. Well, where are we swapping it at? Well, we have our index ref local that we're going to plug into there. And we have our class local for down here. So this is why I said we're not overwriting it, we're already storing it elsewhere. As for our index, well, we have our EQ index right here. We can just plug that into there, put a reroute in so it's a little bit nicer, neater, and easy. Make sure to grab the right things. Nicer, neater, and easier to read. In fact, actually I tried done it that way. And I'll just move this up there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the player character, so get player character, and we are going to trigger a setup inventory slots, plug that into there, and put a return node in. And it is equipped on this step. So this is swaps equipment. Now we don't need to worry about our inventory being full because we're literally taking something that's say in slot 10 of 10 and replacing and putting it into our equipment, and then taking that equipment and putting it into the empty slot now. So we don't need to worry about any of the weight stuff changing. We don't need to worry about discarding. But let's set up our discard stroke our unequip event. So we're just going to call this our discard equipment. And this will be of our category equipment. It will have one input of our dear old friend, our EQ index ref. It will, of course, be type integer. Of course, we will promote this to a local variable called index ref. And we're going to take this, to index ref local, index ref local, to EQ index ref local. We're going to put a reroute here. And we're going to get equipment info. Oh, I don't want the interface version. No, get equipment info. Thank you. We have a node for it here. We're in the thing. We are going to... I skipped something that I want. We're going to go open this up, and we're going to add one more thing in here. And the reason I didn't think about it was I was thinking about what we use in the interface. We're going to add in our item class here. So we're just going to move this all down. And from our item class here, we can't use reroutes for some reason. Remember, there's a bug. I'm just going to pull off and plug that into there. Actually, I think I might be able to get away with using a reroute for this part. But there we go. Compile, save. It doesn't matter that in our interface version of this, so if we go to our equipment, that we don't have that in there. We don't use it anywhere else but within our inventory system. So we want it here in our discard. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually promote our item to class to a local. So it's going to be our equipment class local. Plug that into there. We are going to take our equipment details and promote that to a local variable. So that will be equipment details local. Set that into there. Align these little suckers up. And we're now going to do our add item master. And instead of searching for it, I'm just going to grab it from there. And we are going to add. So this is if we're going to first attempt to unequip. If we can't unequip, we will drop the item. So we'll actually discard it. And so the class we're trying to add is this item. We can only have one of an item equipped. So we're only going to be doing one. And we will use this successfully added in just a moment. But first what we're going to do is we are going to clear, because regardless if we discard or discard or unequip the item, we are still unequipping the item. So we're going to first do our equip item function. And this is a bit complex in terms of how we have to think about it. First, we know what index we're unequipping. That's the easy part. We are clearing the item class. That's the easy part. And the now confusing part, amount and slot is 0 because we're unequipping. So we're getting rid of it. We're getting rid of it at this index. We're setting it to 0. It's this bit right here, the equipment type. We don't want to change this. So to make sure that we're not accidentally changing, say, body to head, what we're going to do is get class defaults from our equipment local class and plug that into there so that we always keep it at the correct type. Now, this bit, we're going to do a spawn actor from class. We are going to, I'm not sure why I'm searching for it. I have the class type right here. Plug that right in. We want amount to add to do 1. We will do was discarded. And we are going to take from this transform, promote to local variable, and this will be our empty transform local. All right, tuck that under there and there. And the next thing we would do is on the return, we're going to do on unequip. So we run our unequip event, and then we're going to do destroy actor. We're literally only spawning the actor in so we can do the unequip event. We're just getting data. Like we do when we eat food, we spawn in it temporarily. Next, regardless of all this, well, we removed it from our equipment system. We need to check, have we actually put it in our inventory system or are we dropping it? So we're going to use a branch to do so. We take the successfully added, plug it into our condition there. We zoom out to put a few reroutes in just so we can more easily see what's going on here. And give you a moment to catch up because I feel like I am rushing today for some reason. All right. So we are now checking. So walking through this, we're storing our information. We're attempting to add the item to our inventory. Regardless if we successfully add it to our inventory or not, we unequip the item. So we clear the equipment slot. We spawn the item temporarily, run the unequip event, and then destroy the item. And then we actually check, all right, have we really unequipped it and put it in our inventory, or have we dropped it to the ground? And if we have successfully added it to our inventory, what we are going to do is trigger a decrease weight event. And the reason why we're going to do a trigger decrease weight event is we're actually adding it. The way our weight events are set up is that when we equip an item, we add weight in. When we add an item to our inventory, we add weight in. But when we discard an item, we reduce weight. Of course, we haven't set our unequipped stuff up yet, so we need to do the same here. We need to copy that same idea on our discard item, where we do our weight event. In fact, actually, I'm gonna be really lazy now that I've opened this up, and I'm gonna copy those two nodes. And so we're now just replicating what we've done for our discard item system in our unequip or discard equipment system. And we're going to take our equipment details local. We are going to break it. And this time I'm not going to be as paranoid about things. I am just going to take my item weight and plug it directly into there. hide my unconnected pins, and I'm going to move the player character thing to the side for a moment because we need to do one more thing from the player character. We need to trigger an update. So we have our trigger set up inventory slots because we both need to update our inventory slots and our equipment slots. And with that, we're done with this branch. So this adds item directly to inventory, or adds equipment back to inventory. And this unequips item regardless of if item is dropped or put in inventory. And then down here, we'll take care of what happens if we don't have room in our inventory system, so it's not successfully added. Well, we're actually going to steal 2 of these nodes. We're going to steal those 2. And we are going to plug those into there. We are going to put a reroute in here just for now. Actually, not just for now. We are going to find our spawn, transform, discard item and use that here. There we go. I'm just going to tuck that under there. And next, we are going to, again, trigger the decrease weight event. It's actually going to be the exact same setup down here. Only difference is I can put this directly underneath there because we're going to have nothing else happening. And we are done with this. So this is our drops equipment into world. I swear I'd hit C earlier. I was wondering where that comment had gone. All right. And because that really is bugging me for some reason. There we go. Now move both of these together this way. All right. With that done, that is our discard events. We need to go to our interfaces and actually run our discard equipment event. And then we have to come back here and set that up. So let's go to our interfaces. Let's go to our inventory. Let's create a new equipment function. As I've already said, it's going to be run discard equipment. It's going to have one input of our dear, that's not a reference, it's equipment, of our dear old friend index ref of type integer. Compile, save, go to your inventory system again, and in your event graph, what we need to do is scroll down to the bottom here under our add item master and do our run discard equipment, get the event version of it, and then we're going to take our discard equipment from here, plug it into there, plug that into there, and we're done with that. Now, finally, what we need to do is go to our equipment menu. So this is the last little bit we have to do before we can do our first test of this. Go to widget elements, equipment, equipment menu, and go to our event graph. Get rid of these things because we don't need them. Find our component, find our discard, click on clicked, or select on clicked. Grab our inventory actor, and we are going to run discard equipment. Where are we going to do it at? Well, the index for this menu, which we passed in the last video. I have not selected index. There we go. And when that is done, we are going to close the menu. All right, let's test this out. Let's make sure that everything we've done works. So I hit play. We first need to test the flashlight button. Nothing. Let's pick up our flashlight. Let's equip it. Let's test the light. It's working. Let's just walk over to this wall so you can see it more clearly. I'm going to open up the menu. Let's do discard. It's back in my inventory. The flashlight is turned off. Notice the weight hasn't increased from 1.5. Equip. Turn it back on. And it's working. Hit F. Oh, sorry, that was I. Hit F. Turn it off. Discard. Hit F. It's working. Let's pick up our test. And we didn't give an icon. Whoops. Let's equip that. Let's equip our test, and notice the 2 switch locations. Okay, and remember this is 1, this is 1.5, so our weights are correct. Let's hit F. Interesting. Okay, let me just equip, discard, hit F. All right, so there's one small little thing I didn't take care of. Give me one moment. I'm gonna pause the video and see where we need to implement something real quick. All right, in good OOP fashion, I think I know the easiest way to do this, and that's go to our inventory, go to your discard equipment, select, actually first move these nodes to the side for a moment. And now I'm gonna double check my logic here. Yep, my logic should work. So go back to the discard equipment with these 2 nodes moved to the side, grab all of this, and we are going to collapse to function. This function will be Unequip event. Actually, it'll be called run Unequip event. And this will go into our equipment category. And this will be our empty transform. Actually, you know what? Delete that node. Delete that. We don't need it. We're just going to put it into... Don't think we use it anywhere else, do we? Nope. All right, go ahead and delete that all in. We're going to actually just replicate that into there. And we can make this a bit shorter. I don't know if this is actually going to work because I didn't catch this bug in my testing of this system. I'm glad I caught it here, though. This also should not be active. This should be BP equipment master. Let's just make sure it's the right type. Otherwise, it gets a bit hairy. We'll put a return node in. And in here, we'll make this an empty transform. So this is empty transform local. All right. Please let me move you. Thank you. Compile, save, go back here, make sure that still can plug into there. We're just gonna test. Yeah, it's still good. Okay. And now next go to your swap equipment. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna move all of this to the right. Sorry, the add item and equip item. And we are gonna find the run unequip event. And we're going to actually move this to the left. We'll put some reroutes in. One reroute goes there. And one reroute goes there. I guess we need to move this a little bit further to the left. There we go. Put another reroute in just to line that up a bit more nicely and neatly. Did not mean to put, okay, and then to line those up nicely and neatly. And now let's test it, make sure we have addressed all those errors. All right, so let's start with our usual test. Hit F actually first, nothing happens. Pick our flashlight up, equip our flashlight, hit F, it's working. Unequip our flashlight, it's still working, or still turning off. Hit F again, nothing happens. Equip, hit F, it's turned on. Let's pick up the test. Let's swap the test out. Notice it isn't working, it's turned off. And our systems are set up. All right, that takes us through everything we need to do in this video. We have one video left in this section. That said, if you've, sorry, let me just get my usual outro set up. All right, this video and this series have been brought to you by Patreon sponsors like Connor, Rian, Hanas, Quadmenson, 1Vault10, and Galwa. If you want to help this channel out, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters at upper tiers get instant access to all ongoing YouTube projects. At other tiers, Patreon sponsors get access once a project has completed on YouTube. If you've liked the series, make sure to hit that like button down below. If you're looking forward to finishing out Section 3, also consider hitting that like button down below. I look forward to seeing you in the final tutorial for this section and hope that you have a wonderful day.